So this live is simple. It's the day before the exam to revise in hand. So I would be looking at the topics you all want to revise, and I'll give you all a question that can come in the exam exactly on that topic. And we would look at the best way to study for it and gain marks for it. So just hit me a topic, and we just go until you're all tired. As we do the topic, if you um, seeing stress with the topic, just hop out and go and check the channel and look up the topic. Look up the topic on the channel. So the first thing somebody say is circle theorems. So let's look at let's create a circle theorem question. Dim, 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 dim. Here we go. Circle theorem question. So let's label some points: A, B, C, D, O. When I reach D, E and F. E and F. So they will say E and F is a tangent. They will let you know AC is a diameter. And what else? They will give you the value of this angle. They will tell you that this angle over here is 40 degrees. So if that angle is 40, I want to know the value of A, the angle ADO, the value of angle COB, put it in the chat as soon as you see it, and the value of angle ABC, and the value of angle CBF. And they will want reasons for why take those angles at that value. So can you get the value of those angles? Here is ADO. Right, ADO. I really didn't mean to get ADO there. Okay, fine. ADO. What's the value of angle ADO? That's this angle here. And then they want the value of COB. Let me say CAB. CAB, sorry about it. CAB, then ABC, then CBF. So what's the value of angle C? Angle OADO. So ADO is this angle here. So what kind of rules you can use to bring out that angle? So I will be doing it. I'll give you a little pause and then I'll tell the answer, right? I'm not going to wait too long to tell the answer, and I'm not going to wait too long to explain because it's the last answer people know it, right? So ADO is, and we write the reasoning first. This is the angle in a semicircle. So angles in a semicircle equal how many degrees? Equal, this is called circle terms, equal 90 degrees. So this whole angle is 90 degrees. Therefore, ADO has to be, and we also know angles in an isosceles triangle, these angles in an isosceles triangle are equal. And we know that DOC is isosceles since it has 2 radii, right? So it has 2 radii. So this is D, this is O, this is C, and this is a radii, and this is a radii. You see it? So this is isosceles. So therefore, the angle that we want, ADO, has to be equal to 90 degrees, the angle in the semicircle, minus 40, which is 50 degrees. Okay, what's the size of angle CAB? CAB. CAB how are we figuring out what CAB is, folks? Is there any way to figure out what CAB is? There's actually no way to figure out what CAB is. I get the CAB in. So to let it be away, let me just train these. Let me just train that. As another trick they would put in the exam, they would put some lines parallel to each other. So if those lines are parallel, can we figure out what CAB is? Well, so somehow you always figuring out what CAB is. That was a kind of guess because there was actually no way to figure out what CAB is until I drew that. So what is CAB now? If AB is parallel to CD, if these two lines are parallel to each other, well, this angle here has to be equal to this angle here. Also, because it's corresponding. So CAB is a corresponding angle to ACB. Therefore, CAB is equal to CACB, which is 40 degrees. Corresponding angles are equal. What about ABC? ABC. What's the value of ABC now? There's a way to figure out what ABC is no matter what. ABC has to be one value alone. And we already established why ABC is going to be 90 degrees. Excuse me. Because, let's just copy this. Angles in a semicircle equal 90 degrees. Angles in a semicircle equal 90 degrees. If it's blurry, you need to raise the resolution. Therefore, ABC has to be 90 degrees. The chance of this rule coming is high, very high. What about, I didn't ask this one, before we do 4, let me train 5. What is the size of angle AOD? AOD. AOD. What's the size of angle AOD? Because it's in the next rule that I can use here. What's the size of this angle here? AOD. So we figured out that this is 40, that this is 50, that this has to be 40 since they are parallel as well. But what's the size of this angle here? This angle there has to be 80 degrees, and it's since angles at the center of a circle are twice the size of angles at the circumference. Write it with me now. Work with me of the circle from a common chord in the same segment. All right, what's the last angle we want to define? We want to define angle 4, which is CBF now. How do we find angle CBF? CBF. Well, CBF is also 40 degrees because the angle between a tangent and a chord is equal to the angle in the opposite angle in the triangle in the alternate segment. So CBF is equal to BAC, and it's called the alternate segment theorem. It's one of the last circle theorems, if not the last that you learn. Alternate segment theorem. So it's also equal to 40 degrees. Angles between a tangent and a chord are equal to the angle in the alternate segment. Angle made in the triangle in the alternate segment. All right. So what other topic? Let me see what the next topic I've seen here. So that was an example of a simple theorems question. If you want to, if it's a little blurry and you want to increase the settings, do that. Term. I just picking the first topic I see, right? So as soon as I see one topic, I'm picking it. So I'm seeing vectors, right? So you want to see a vectors question. So let's do our random vectors question. Once again, I'll make up the question based on what I know about CSEC, and I know them real good, bro. I know them real good. So let's say they give it a triangle this time. Let's say they try to change it up and they give you a triangle. Usually it's a parallelogram. And they said that the triangle PQR, and that P to Q can be represented by 2V, and P to R can be represented by U. And the first thing they ask you to do is find what Q to R is. So go ahead and find Q to R. So the vectors question comes in number 10. Usually A or B, one of the parts will be vectors, one will be matrices. So what is Q to R? Then after you figure out what Q to R is, they say, well, they don't say well. I just go well for poetic. Poetry. Well, a point M is located on PQ such that P to M compared to P to Q is equal to 1 to 2. Find which is, let me add in the next one time. And a point N, so you have a point M, then you have a point N, is located on PR such that, in all of these questions are trying to incorporate all the little tricks that could come, right? Such that P to N compared to N to R is equal to 1 to 2. And they want you to find M to N. Find Mn. Find Mn. So the first question was to find QR. So to find QR, the trick with this style of vectors, when you get these diagrams and you have a 2U, A and a B for these little small common letter vectors, the trick with these diagrams is to find another way. Find another route. So you don't know this route, we don't know the route straight down here. So the other route is to come down this and go across this. And then you go up, if you go down, you need to switch the sign. So this is negative 2V plus U. Or you can write a little more working. It's like if I go QP and then I add on PR. So it's negative 2V plus U. Or we can write it as U minus 2V. We could hide it up like this. What is Mn? Well, first we need to show where M is on the diagram and where N is on the diagram. So P to M compared to P to Q is a relationship of 1 to 2. So if I go from P to M, I already know it should be. M should be here. P to M is 1, but P to Q is 2. You'll see that, so M is really a midpoint. M is really a midpoint. Are you okay with that? Now this one is written differently. This is saying P to, so N is not a midpoint. This one is saying P to N. Let's put N where it should be, which is here. I know it's not from my expert decoding skills. P to N, N is there. Compared by a start on N this time. N to R, class, remember we do this 100 times, right? So N to R is twice the distance as P to N. So that means you need to add it up now. So it's 3 parts. In this case, you don't add it up. In this case, you just use this. P to Q is the whole thing. So you just use the 2. But in this case, you have to add it up because what you started back on N. This one you start back on P. So this one divided by 3 and this one divided by 2. And now they want you to show what M to N is. Well, the M to N, remember the key to vectors is finding another way. So m to n is really, if I go from m to p, and then I add on p to n. So first I need to find what m to p is. Well, m to p is half of q to p, which I already know is the negative of that. So it's half of negative 2v, which is just negative v. Agreed? And what is m to n? No, p to n. P to n is 1/3 of p to r. So it's 1/3 u. So therefore, this is minus v plus 1/3 u. Why is in the chat if you understand? So I didn't create the questions that this is parallel to this. I could have if I make both of them midpoints and I get parallel. So let me ask a separate question in vectors. A separate question in vectors. So if you have a vector, if you found a vector PR is something like maybe half u plus 3v, and then you see a vector PS is u plus 6v, and they want you, so you did your question, right? You do your question, and now they're asking you, you got these two answers somewhere along in the question. This must be part 2 and part 3. And now they're asking you at the end of the question to show that this vector PR is collinear to PS. Show that PR is collinear to PS. How do you do that? Well, there are 2 steps. First, you need to prove that they are parallel, which has a step. This is 1 step. So sometimes you could just ask a parallel, so you just show what I'm going to show you there. And then you need to say that they share a common point. What's the common point that they share? So from this, you can see they share or go through or will pass through a common point, right? The common point in this case is clearly P. So in this case, share a common point P. Therefore, they are collinear. Therefore, they are collinear. But how do you show that they are parallel in the first place? Well, to show that they are parallel in the first place, what do you do, class? You show that they are related. This is the word you want to use. Related by a, and if this vectors thing hotting up your head, bad, go look up the topic of vectors. It's still a time to collect some mark in vectors. Go look it up on my channel. I went through it from scratch. Are related by a common factor. And what's the factor? Can you see this, people? PS is actually 2 times PR. Are you seeing that? So related by a common factor of 2. Therefore, they are parallel. And that's how you show that vectors are parallel. If you can get a common factor out of them, it means the vectors are sized up to go in the same direction, which means they are parallel. So it means that this vector PR is like this, and the vector PS starts, so PR might be like this, and PS might be twice the size, like this, PS. Collinear, what does the word collinear means? It means these 2 lines are on the same line. They are on the same path. PR is this guy, and PS is this guy. But they actually come from the same peak. That means they collinear. All right, next topic. Cumulative frequency. I've seen Isaiah go and say cumulative frequency. So recently, they've been giving you graphs and asking you questions on cumulative frequency. Now, a little vexy say cumulative frequency because it's one of the harder questions for me to make up from scratch. It'll take a little while, and I'm trying to go at a fast pace here, but the people want cumulative frequency. So let's say this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And let's say this is what I want to use. I want to use maybe age. So I'll say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I'll stop there. And I'll stop there. So maybe we have a table that looks like this. So they've been doing this a lot recently, giving you the cumulative frequency inside out. Here's what I mean. So they put the intervals, and then they put the frequency, and then you have your cumulative frequency. So let me just show you what's supposed to happen. What's supposed to happen is that they have the intervals, like usually what will happen, like 1 to 10, 11 to 12, to 20, 20, 21, you'll understand these intervals, to 30, 31, it could be ages of people in a class or some kind of thing, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, and then we finish off with maybe 51 to 60. And then they'll give you the frequency, and the frequency might run something like this: 2, 4, 10, 15, 7, 3. So you see, and this is how it usually starts off a cumulative frequency question, like the original way of a cumulative frequency question. This is what happened. So actually, the originalistic of way is that they'll give you the raw data, and you need to figure out the frequencies and put it within the interval, and now you need to draw. So how do you draw the cumulative frequency? You need to make notes of all the UCBs. Do you know what's a UCB? And that's not Union Claxton Day. Ooh, the stale jokes these maths teachers crack. When you have exam in the morning, this man cracking stale jokes on YouTube. UCB means upper class boundary. That's not 10. 10 is the UCL, that's the upper class limit. The upper class boundary is the highest possible value that can fall within this range. So it's actually 10.5. And if you need a little refresh on that, go and look it up. I have a video going through this in detail. So it's 10.5, 20.5, 30.5, are you with me? 40.5, 50.5, 60.5. And you use the UCBs. So you use all your UCBs, and nope, not the frequency. You need to get the cumulative frequency as well. So how do you do the cumulative frequency? Well, I just make up these values here, and I should really make up values that will add up to make 80. So I want to erase these values and use values that I would know would add up to make 80. So just now, because I want to go up to 80, understand? So what color had I? Red. So let's say about 20 there. 20 and 20 is 40, right? Yeah, 40. And 10, 10, 10. All right. So let's use 30 here. Let's use 25 there. So how much we gonna have? You're gonna have about 55. Put 5 there. 60, 70, 2 there, and put 8 there. Hopefully that add up to be 80 or some kind of thing, right? So now you're cumulative. So let's pretend these were the actual values that we got when we do the frequency business. So cumulative frequency, I'll write that in purple. This is what we're going to use here. Cumulative frequency. You start off with the same frequency here, but then you keep adding on. So you get 12 here. Are you with me? 42. That's how it works. 42 and 25, 67, 67 and 8. What's that? Am I adding properly? 42 and 25, 67. Yeah, 67 and 8 is 75, and then you get 80. Why is in the chat if you understand this? Why I mean yes. So that's how usually a cumulative frequency will run in the proper direction. And then you plot this map with this. So 10.5 is a little smoothing above this, and it map out with a 2. So that might be about here. So. And of course, the lowest possible value is 0.5, and that'll be 0. So you put that there one time. But let's go on with the rest. So 20.5, 12. 20.5, 12 is about there. So 30.5, 42. About there, so class, 42. 30.5. I could shift a little more, like, hey. 30.5, 42. I could mostly come a little more there. 67, 40.5, 67, 40.5, 67. You just a quick sketch here, you'll have to draw it properly in the exam. 50, 75, maybe our day, and then 60, 60.5, 80, our day. So, and then what else happens is you connect the dots, and you always get this kind of S-looking curve, hopefully. You usually get this S-looking curve. All the time I've ever seen is that S-looking curve. If it's looking blurry, all you know what to do, change the quality of the video now, man. All you know the drill by now. And that's it, and you draw your cumulative frequency and you collect your marks. So, and then they'll ask you questions like, what is the median? By the way, there are 3 things. They'll ask you about the quartiles. The quartiles could be Q1, Q2, or Q3. And then they could go a step further and ask you about the IQR, also called the interquartile range. And the formula for that, make sure you have it. Formula for that is Q3 minus Q1. Or they can ask you about the semi-interquartile range, which is half of Q3 minus Q1. Now, cumulative frequency is the most popular subject for statistics by far, most popular topic. But there's a chance that it don't come in. There's a small chance that it don't come. I mean, something else could come too. Yeah, so let's say they wanted Q1. Q1 is like if you divide the data in folia. It's like, okay, the middle is 40, this one is 20, this one is 60. That's Q1, Q2, Q3. You see that? So, yeah, but there's a formula that we use to be a little more accurate, in that we really supposed to add 1 to the frequency. So we say that Q1 is n plus 1 divided by 4, or I prefer to write it as quarter n plus 1. And this is not really Q1 to it. This is where Q1 lies. Q1 is a quarter of n plus 1, so it's really a quarter of 80. N is the number of items we had, right? The total highest cumulative frequency. So this is 20.252. So it's found on the 20. So just a little smoothing above 20. Hey, I don't want to use the same color. Let's use come on the blue. Nah, blue on the outside already. Take a sweat the orange. Orange, take a sweat the blue. So it is 20.25, you come across there, bang, you touch the road, or you touch the curve, and then you come down with a little dot. All of them supposed to be dot actually. So you see that Q1 is 1. Therefore, Q1 is 25. And if it's years, you might put 25 years. Yeah, look at it. And Q2 is also called the median, because that's the middle value. It's a half of n plus 1. So that's a half of, n plus 1 is supposed to be 81. Nobody incorrect on that. N is 80 plus 1, 81. So n plus 1 here would be half of 81, which would be 40.5. 2. That's not the answer. That's where it's found. It's found on the 40.52. You hit the road and you come down. And that's looking like it's somewhere around the 32 value. So Q2 is 32. As I see it, 32 years. That's how you get 32. That's how you get Q2. And Q3, same thing, 3/4 of n plus 1 is the formula for this. So it's 3/4 of 81, which is 60.75. So it's on the 60.75th term, approximately the 61st term. So you come across here, all of these really supposed to be dashed lines, right? And you come straight down here and looking like it's 40. You make it be 40, right? So we're predicting that it's 40. And that looking kind of false, like it's 39. So Q3 is 39 years. And then the interquartile range will be what? Q2 was 39, Q1 was 25. 39 minus 25 is what? 14. And then the SIQR, or the semi-interquartile range, is half of Q3 minus Q1. So that's half of 14, which is 7 years. All of these are the per units. Years. Most of the time units is years. So what else they can ask you with cumulative frequency? Let's take back our graph and go to the side and see what else they can ask us. If cumulative frequency come, an additional thing they can ask you is they will almost guarantee, there's almost a guarantee that they'll ask you this. It's like how many persons, and they'll pick a year, over 70 years old. So what you need to do is find 70 years old. Oh no, that's 70. I only have up to 60. Which is doing over 50 years old. 50 years old. So I need to find 50 on the x-axis because this is the years. This is the time in years, or the age in years, or whatever it was. And this is the frequency, the frequency. Maybe it might be best for me to do that. Cumulative frequency, right? So cumulative frequency, and you put your title here. In your title, you just put graph of cumulative frequency against age, and then you put a scale here based on what you do, right? Scale. All right. Okay, so how many persons are over 50 years old? What you're supposed to do in that situation is come from 50, go up, touch the road, and come across like this. Bang. So you see how I do it in reverse this time, because they asked me how many people are over 50 years old. So I start from 50, go up, touch the road, come across. And the answer is not 75. 75 people are under 50 years old. So if it's out of 80, you understand that is 80 minus 75 is equal to 5 persons. Now, if that was the probability of picking such a person, was the probability of picking 72, look a little better, I see somebody say that is true. What's the probability? So the probability of picking somebody over that probability is 5 out of the total, 5 out of 80. It should be what? 1 out of 16 or something, I think so. One out of 16, 1/16. That's the probability to be expressed as a fraction decimal. Okay, but as I said, I found that at the start of this, remember I said they're bringing it in reverse a lot, but so what they're doing is they're asking you all these questions and things, but at the start, they're bringing it in reverse, meaning they're giving you the cumulative frequency and way to figure out backwards the frequency. What kind of drama is that? And they might even leave out one of the cumulative frequency too. So you have to go on the graph and find it. You have to use the upper class boundary, 40.5, go on the graph, find what that is. So you put in your cumulative frequency and then you're working backwards. Well, if you're working backwards, here's what you're supposed to do, right? You put 2, then you say 12 take away 2 is 10, you understand? And 10 from 42. Am I making sense, everybody? Well, I had the 32, or some kind of thing, so 32. 30. 2, 10, and 30. 12, and you're just subtracting, and you're going back up. Well, let me know if you all understand how we could take the cumulative frequency and get back this. All right, what's the next topic? Next topic I'm seeing, I'll only picking the hard topics, but I pick an easy topic now, right? Next topic they're picking is bearings. So in bearings, some of the things you need to know is whatever, new topic, right? Bearings. Some of the things you need to know is that whatever port you are from, the north points up. But I think everybody knows that. And south points down. And then west and east spell west, east. And keywords to look out for in bearings are from and to. If it's from, you're using this letter. If it's to, you're using the port that was before, like if it was A. You'll see what I mean just now, right? And when you're taking the bearings, you go clockwise direction until you reach the line that connects into the next port of interest. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by from and to. So if I say there are 2 bearings here to consider, right? Because you understand, this is the north. I go clockwise until I reach the line. And let's call this bearing, they will never do this in the exam. I'm just doing this to teach you all something. Bearing 1 and bearing 2. Which one of them represents the bearing of P from R? Which one of them represents the bearing of P from R? P from R. From R. From R. It means the point of interest is R. So you need to say 2 represents the bearing of P from R. You understand? You see how much people say 1. The bearing of P from R is on R. You have to take that bearing from. You see how much people say 1? Ready, bell, right? So and if they want the bearing of R 2P, the bearing of R 2P, where it's supposed to come from, 1 or 2. If they want the bearing of R 2P, the bearing of R2P, 2P. If they say R2, you still take from behind. That's the same thing we're talking about. You start off on R and you go into P. So it's this bearing we're watching at. Still 2. Still 2. More links again. More links. So, again, important quality. Yeah, sorry, what that was CXE calling me to say they're not pleased with me giving out the solutions to the upcoming exam. But let's proceed. All right, I'm joking. CXE, oh gosh, you can take a joke, boy, oh gosh. R2P means you're taking it from there, right? So let me create a bearings question like what could come tomorrow, please go. Let's see. A ship starts at port P and heads on a bearing of 130 degrees for 100 kilometers, where it meets port R. It then journeys on a bearing of 340 degrees until it reaches, I don't want to say that, I take it back, on a bearing of 30 degrees until it reaches port PR, A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, I mess out Q, until it reaches port PQR and port Q, which is 40 kilometers. Now let's get a little more distance, 60 kilometers away. Now they want you to show this on a diagram. Start drawing right? It's not that in these things so you can see it a little better. 60 kilometers, 100 kilometers, 130 degrees, and a bearing, they will actually write this as 030 degrees. So that's the key point. We have port Q. Let's underline these. Port Q, port P, and port R. So are you able to come up with the diagram for this to collect the marks? Well, let's see. I'm going to start drawing it myself. So a ship starts at port P and heads on a bearing of 130 degrees, 100, where it means port R. I just visualized it in my mind before I start. It journeys on a bearing of 30 degrees until it reaches this port Q, which is 60 kilometers away. So let's draw that, and then afterwards I'll come up with the type of questions they'll give me. So they may ask you to complete a diagram or come up with a diagram from scratch. They may ask you to complete that. So you have P, you draw a knot, and all these will be sketches, and you draw 130, which looks like about that. Understand? That's the bearing. Continue down. See, that's 130 for 100 kilometers. until you just make a little estimate there until you meet port R. Then you want another bearing, so you start off with your North Pole one time. You understand? North Pole is important for bearings, bro. And it's 30 degrees, all bearings taken in clockwise. Last time I said 300, but I would have put me here and that I make the diagram a little confusing for you. So let's use 30. So 30 degrees, and then we go up. So, and this one was for 60 kilometers away. So we went 60 kilometers away, and let's say port, what is this? Port 2? Port 60 would be a little more, a little less. Port Q. Why is in the chat if you came up with this as your answer? So you need to put in your lengths. Will you catch this? 100. This is 130 degrees. This is 30 degrees here. And this is 60 kilometers. So let's say you came up with this diagram, or maybe they gave you a sketch of this diagram and told you to put in the measurements, which is be more likely because the math paper is kind of tight these days. There's not much space for them to be creative and make you do a whole question from scratch. And then they ask you to find the value of angle PRQ. So that's part 1. And part 2 would obviously be, so you find the value of the distance of port P to Q, port P to port Q. A classic. It's a classic here. Chances that this come in the exam extremely high. This is like the most probable thing to come in question 9, other than circle geometry, of course. So if you could, I'll read what Christy's saying now, boy. Where you think I pin Christy comments there for? If you can't see, go on your settings, raise the quality, advance, and 1080p. So, can I get it? So some people catching it, some people need to. So if you're frustrated and you can't understand this topic, this is for people who kind of in about between like your averaging between 60 to 100%. If we pick a topic to do, they only pick any hard topics in the chat. So if you pick a topic to do and we're doing it and you're not catching it, go and research it on the channel and you can learn it from scratch and come up. You still have some time to train some marks in your exam day. So I was looking for answers and people saying it's 80. What's the size of angle PRQ? Classic. So once again, to just quickly recap, left port P, 130 degrees bearing. Bearings are clockwise, taken from the north, hitting the line that connects the 2 points. 2 points. Stops at R, which is 100 kilometers away. Then it goes on another bearing of 30 degrees, 60 kilometers away to point Q, and they want us to find the value of angle R. PRQ. That's this angle here, if you're not seeing it. So you can clearly see that this angle is made up of this angle and that angle. I want to tell you the strongest thing to solve a bearings question. Look upon me. The strongest thing to solve a bearings question is knowing this. And I want to draw it like this time. You know what I'm talking about? 2 parallel lines and a transversal. And there are different angles that we know are equal to each other. There's the corresponding angles, because they're in the same spot. There are the alternate angles, which, so let me use the vertically opposite next. They are the vertically opposite, they are also equal to each other. And then there's the alternate, which is like a corresponding, and then you go vertically opposite. They are also equal to each other. And there are many cases like this you could find. But the most important one for solving a bearings, or corresponding is really nice, so you could use that to solve the bearings, but a really important one is the co-interior. Say it with me, co-interior. Again, co-interior. These angles are co-interior. See how they're kind of in a box there? Co-interior angles. And what do we know about co-interior angles? Co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees. Add up to, I don't want to write that. What's a short way to write that? Are supplementary. So co-interior angles are supplementary. This angle and that angle add up to 180 degrees. So therefore, if we know co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees, then this angle here plus this angle here, let's call it A, is equal to 180 degrees. So A is equal to 180 minus 160. So I have a little diagram so I can pin letters and thing, and then go see them thing. And I put my 50 degrees here. So therefore, PRQ, which is what I'm trying to find in the first place, is that 50 degrees, that A, plus 30 degrees. How many of you all got 80 degrees as PRQ? So you find the first angle. And now, the classic thing they would want you to do is find the distance here, which is the cosine rule. The strongest of the two, the more popular of the two, is the cosine rule. And the cosine rule is spotted after that 12-hour crash course. My class not supposed to be even blinking to do this question. How many in my class race through this question? They're supposed to just race through. Bearings question, or they're supposed to select it. Oh, by the way, how many of you all doing AdMaths are doing a next 12-hour crash course? I'm not that one. If you're doing AdMaths, and this should be easiest way if you're doing AdMaths, so at least you could see a way in this if you're doing AdMaths. You're here for some fun. The AdMaths crash course is this Saturday. And I'm starting from 12 in the day and going to 12 in the night, 12 a.m. So 12 p.m. to 12 a.m., 12 noon to 12 in the night. WhatsApp this number, 3101306. I'll pack you already right number. For sure, this number will be 4724221. And obviously, you put the area code 868, right? Because we have people from Guyana, Jamaica, Grenada, St. Lucia. So you WhatsApp this number and you join the advanced crash course. It's 300 TTD, and if you're already in my advanced class, free. All right, so let me continue with the question. The next part of the question is to find the value of angle PQ. PQ. And we already know this angle here. This angle is 80 degrees, and we know this is 100, and we know this is 60. What that looking like to you? What that looking like to you? That is the cosine rule, friend. How do we spot the cosine rule? The cosine rule, you have three sides involved and an angle. Or better yet, anytime you see this guy, anytime you see an angle holding up a stick, you see them, the angle and the two arms, you know the two arms and you're holding up a stick, and most of the time you're trying to find the length of the stick, that is cosine rule. So what I like to do is remove their labels, draw over the triangle, and use the labels that it have for cosine rule on the front of the paper. So you call the angle A, the opposite side A, and the other two sides B and C. So you'll be like, this is the cosine rule. A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos 80. You don't need to memorize it because it's at the front of the paper, but you should try and memorize it still. So it's B squared, let's call that a 100 squared, plus C squared is 60 squared minus 2 by 2BC, 2 by 100 by 60 by cos of 80. So putting that in your calculator, you should get, it may take a little time for me, you all should be able to do it a little faster. 100 squared plus 60 squared minus 2 by 100, 2 by 60 is 120 by 100 is 1200, 1200 cos 80. 1200 or 12,000? 12,000. 12,000. Cos 80. And you get this number 11516.22, 11516.22. That's A squared. Don't forget to find the square root. 11516.22. I like to find the square root of the full answer that I have. So I put square root of answer and I get 107.31. A is equal, and they will usually tell you how much they want it to. So this is to one decimal place, 4 significant figures here. So and it's kilometers. Kilometer. So they might ask you this angle here, maybe next in the question. If they ask you that angle next, so they might ask that. That'll be the last part of the question. They ask you to find the value of this angle next, folks. That angle. So how do you find that angle? Well, draw over the triangle again and put in what you know. You put A No, just put in what you know first. You just figured out that this is what? 107.31. This is 80. And we knew this is 60 and 100 from before. So when they ask you to find the angle next, you see two angles involved, and two sides, sine rule. So sine rule coming into play here. So label it up so you could use the sine rule. Call this A now, call this A, call this B now, call this B. So you draw it over and you relabel so they know what you're talking about. And this is how you use the sine rule. Sine of A over A is equal to the sine of B over B. Now the reason why I'm saying sine of A on top is because I'm trying to find the angle. So I put the signs on top and the numbers and the sides below. I'm going on to the next topic just now. So the sine of A over A is 100 is equal to the sine of B, which is 80 over B was 107.31. So sine of A is equal to the 100 when it comes across to multiply. Sine of 80 over 107.31 multiplied by 100, which is what? So for those of you all who kind of had an idea in the cosine rule, I hope this help clear up, and the sine rule this help clear up what could come for bearings. If you really struggle to keep up with me whilst I was doing this question, hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. If you really struggle to keep up with me, 0.9177, then you need to go and look up this video on my channel and get a little closer with God. Get a little closer with the topic as you're doing it day by day, because yeah boy, you don't know your little sine and cosine rule. So shift sine inverse of the answer is equal to 66. You all got that? About 66 degrees. Nobody put it. Well, what is this? I'll put the answers now, man. Hundreds of you all here, man. How much are there? 2,500 is what it's saying here. 66.6 degrees. 66. That's a bad sign, but I'm going to write it like that. Bad sign. 66.5. Ooh, that can approximate it. I'll go deep down in the approximation to avoid that. 595 degrees. First time I ever write a degrees like this. So looking kind of upward. Now I'm just put 67 degrees and done to the nearest degree. To the nearest degree. Bad sign. We don't want a heavy thing. Alright. What's the next topic am I seeing here? I just did a vectors question, so let me see. And I make up this question and I pop out by. I'm seeing topics. I'm seeing somebody say trigs. This was actually trigs. So maybe they are thinking about the other type of trigs. So maybe they are thinking of maybe let's do a section 1 trigs question that can come. Let's do a section 1 trigs question just to make sure you understand trigs. The shape PQRS consists of two right angle triangles. And that's all they give you. And they want you to find part 1, find the length of PR, and then find, and they might embellish the question a little more, and they might say there's somebody yard and PS is a walkway and la 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 la. But at the end of the day, find the length of PS. So this one here might be for 1 mark. 2 marks if so much. This one here for 2 months. And I UD. Can you do this question? So this is like basic. This might come in question 3. Question 3. Can you do this question? Shape consists of 2 right angle triangles. Find the length PR, then find the length PS. And let me say it's meters. Meters. So this mid-level trigs in section 1 would usually test 2 things. It will usually test Pythagoras theorem or trigonometric ratios, trig ratios. We don't really call it that. Everybody just refer to it as SUKA-TOA. SUKA-TOA, right? SUKA-TOA. So it's one out of these things in testing. Usually the 2. Usually the 2 or whatever, right? So finding length PR. How to know which one to use? Because Pythagoras theorem, well, let me tell you one time, a quick entry into that, a quick look at that or refresher. Excuse Pythagoras theorem. If you have a right angle triangle, ABC, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the other 2 sides. So Pythagoras theorem, what is it used for? Pythagoras theorem is used to find the missing side on a triangle. The missing side on a triangle when you know 2 of the other sides. You ever say anything about angles there? No. So Pythagoras theorem is when you know 2 sides and you're trying to find a next side on a right angle triangle. I won. And the trig ratios or trigonometric ratios, so trig ratios for short because nobody like to write trigonometric. Oh God, it's hard, so they had to make the word long to had to spell the word long to buy. All right, the trig ratios are used when we have an angle involved. So it's still a right angle triangle, but an angle is involved. And you could find the length or you could find the angle itself that is involved. So we always know that this side is called the hypotenuse. And depending on where they put the angle, we'll put the other 2 sides. You know, this will bring in words into this, right? HYP. All right, Daddy. HYP stands for hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse is the side of the triangle that's opposite the right angle, or it's the longest side on the triangle. And then over on this side, we call it the OPP. And that's not the ups. That's not your ups. That's the opposite. So the OPP is the opposite. They're not your enemies, and that's the opposite. The ADG, that's the adjacent. That's the side that's touching the angle in the question. Now, keep in mind, if I put theta over here, these 2 guys would have had a swap. This would become the adjacent, and this would become the opposite now. But I didn't. So here we are, adjacent. And the trigonometric ratios are established like this. The sine of that angle, theta, would always be the size of the opposite divided by the size of the hypotenuse. The cos of that angle, theta, would always be the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. So, ka. And the tan of the angle, theta, would be the opposite divided by the adjacent. And we use the first letters as a little fun little code to help you remember the thing now. SUKA-TOA. SUKA-TOA. You see why we call it SUKA-TOA now? Ta-da! SUKA-TOA. 3 phrases. These 3 phrases are represented here. All right. So how does this help us in this triangle over here? The question. So we need to find the length of PR. And PR is attached to this triangle, which has 2 sides. And I just say the Pythagoras theorem can be used to find the length of a triangle, a side of a right angle triangle. Pythagoras theorem can be used to find the length of the sides of a right angle triangle. Let me go and make out this boy. Let's scroll up and make out this boy. Justin Suku. On our vibes, boy. Here we are the day before maths exam. Justin Suku. I'd tag him. I don't even want to pay a name on my channel. Boy. And your mother and father paying the internet bill for you to come on CSEC Maths tomorrow, 2023, final revision, and write Sanjeev like boys. Not even my SEA students is writing them thing, boy. My SEA students, when they're trolling, is come a little better than that, man. Justin, you're bringing shame upon the whole village. Upon the whole village, Justin. Justin, I want you to go outside and touch the grass. Go outside and touch the grass, Justin. Trust me. Just let that grass run through your hands and things. and breathe. Let a little mosquito bite you and thing, and come back inside and watch where you're riding. Under the anonymity of the internet, people is be doing things they will never do in real life, you know. You meet Justin in real life, bro. Justin, I hope you're taking this shine up and you become a good man. You're gonna meet me somewhere and I don't know where you're gonna meet you. I don't want to say anything. You're gonna meet me somewhere and you're gonna say, sir, I the fella you tell to touch grass, and I went and touched the grass and it changed my life. It changed my life. I touched that grass and I was a new man. Anyhow, find the length of PR. So PR, remember, Pythagoras' theorem is used to find the side of a missing right angle triangle when you have two sides, right? So find the length PR. So we can examine the triangle like this. If you want, you can always draw over the triangle, put in the missing sides, and rename your soldiers them. Call he B, call he A, and call he C, and you move along with your life. And you say, by Pythagoras' theorem, because you know these fellas like to get a name call out every time they're in use now. By imagine if Pythagoras used to roll in the grave every time people write this. That man spinning. By Pythagoras' theorem, C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. C squared is equal to A squared plus B. So 13 squared is equal to 5 squared, A squared plus 5 squared. Now, there's no need to go through all of this when you see these numbers because this is a known type of triangle, right? I will write them numbers. So 13 squared. So 169 equal A squared plus 25. And the end of the day, you'll get A squared is equal to 144. And therefore, A is equal to the square root of 144, which is 12 meters. So you figure out that is 12 meters. Right, by Justin, by? Right, Justin or the grass field. So this is 12 meters. 12 meters. So now that we know PR is 12 meters, we can examine the next side of this triangle. PR is 12 meters. All right? Somebody texting me. PR is 12 meters. So this is 12, this is PR. And we also have an angle over here, but theta. Theta is 50 degrees. And PR, what is that? S. Nice. So, I know Justin sending me, I hate million. Justin was following me, Justin unfollow me. Justin, I'm sorry, boy, but oh gosh, you really come on the channel and right now, Justin, we're really going on at you for this. Maths care how you so stressed out by Justin, boy. So 12 are ready. Yeah. So we're trying to find this side, folks. So now we have an angle and a side involved. So that's an indication that we're going to use SOHCAHTOA. 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 Which one? Well, yeah, watch which side we have. That is the opposite to the angle, and we want to find the hypotenuse. So there's an opposite and a hypotenuse involved. There's an opposite and a hypotenuse involved. An opposite and a hypotenuse involved. So we're going to say sine of 50 is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse, which is 12 over x. X is the hypotenuse. Let's call it x. So sine of 50. So therefore, x is equal, you can put SP or PS or whatever it is. I want to find it, PS here. So x is equal to 12 over sine of 50. You must know how to transpose. You understand? Let's swing with that. And what we getting there, boy? 15.9. Sine 50. I get 15.66. What we know? I get 15.66. That making sense? 15.66 making sense. Yeah, that feeling a little sensible to me. 15.66 meters. 15.66 meters. Okay, so now that we have that, what we're gonna do? As I said, add maths 12-hour session. Message you students have joined them now. What's the next topic I want to do? I'm looking to see if I can find it. It's hard for me to read so many comments. I just looking for the first topic I see. matrices. So do our matrices now, sugar sample. All right, fine. So matrices, let's do our entire matrices question. So they get three matrices, right? For that's now, I'm gonna think about this. Think about, see, Justin, I stop and think about what I'm doing. Sometimes this I do that by just 4 minus 1 for let's do a 2D. Part 2D. Yeah, I feel into part 2D. And we can say Q and 6, 1, 3. Let's call this one. Let's call it 6 and 3. Negative 2, and I'll make the 6 negative as well. And let's say R is 4, 1. So, okay. So they will ask you to, maybe they might say, which which one of these matrices which one of these matrices is singular? Now they will ask. Like they start a question. And then maybe they will say, if find the value. I really want to ask another thing, but that will require me to look up the whole question and solve it. So I had to do a straightforward question. So find the, so they'll give you this 4x negative y 5x plus 2y is equal to I'll put the 1 4 here. I hope this work out nice because I just making up random things here, people. It's feeling like a niceness might happen here. So they will say express the system of equations express in a matrix form, and then hence solve using a matrix method. Solve for x and y using a matrix method. Before they do that, so let's put this as 3 and this as 4. Squeezing out 2 there, folks. They will say find the value of PQ. So again, you have a little matrix multiplication to 1 time. So which one of these matrices is singular? Is singular? Which one is singular? So which one is singular? And singular matrices, to be singular, to be singular. Somebody is excluding this. To be singular matrix, to be singular, the determinant of the matrix must be equal to 0. The determinant must be equal to 0. So we're going to examine these matrices and see which one is equal to 0. And determinant is found if the matrix A is A, B, C, D, then the determinant of A is A by D minus B by C. Therefore, the determinant of P is 4 by 2 minus negative 1 by 5. That is turning out to be a big number, and I don't like it because I put it inside here. So those of you who are reading this, marshal your brains. Change that to a negative sign. Anybody who was on this, stop. If you was doing this, mash your brakes now and switch this to negative. Yeah. Anyhow, so 4 by 2 is 8 plus 5 is 13. So the determinant, make some space again, I will confuse you. And you know, my handwriting is the best handwriting in the entire YouTube. And I live up to that trend, live up to my reputation. It really is up there. That's it. So determine the determinant of P, and it turns out to be it is not equal to 0. So it is not singular. That matrix has an inverse. If a matrix is not singular, it has an inverse. And the determinant of, I don't know why I draw a line, the determinant of Q is equal to what? The determinant of Q is -6 by 1 minus 2, -2 by 3. So this is turning out to be -6 plus 6, which is equal to 0. Therefore, Q is the one. Q is the one by P single. Therefore, Q is singular. Yes, folks. And now we go on to the next thing. Find PQ. That real long and monotonous one, actually. Really just skip what I know. Who tell me to add that piece any question? Who write this question, man? PQ is 4, -1, 5, 2. And I want to do a little matrix multiplication. I'll just follow the flow here. Follow the flow. 1 is 1. Matrix multiplication can teach you a thing or two about relationships. You know? Matrix multiplication is supposed to teach you about relationships, right, class? Because then we say this matrix here represents the gentlemen, and this matrix here represents the ladies. Well, matrix multiplication, them don't share. Right? Certain schools in the South, them don't share. So this one will multiply with this one, and then this one here will multiply with this one. And so I understand it going across the row and down the column. 1 is 1. So follow the flow here. Follow the flow. So it's 4 by -6 plus -1 by 3. I'll put all the names in the chat. I don't want to end up in problems here. So actually, I was going to close the bracket here and do the next thing, but I realized this is a 2 by 2 matrix multiplied by another 2 by 2 matrix. Now the legend says, and this is used in CXC a lot, once these two numbers are the same, they can multiply. And we see in here conveniently, they are the same. Once the two numbers are the same, they can work. 2 by 2. Those two numbers are the same. Workage happening here. Matrix multiplication can occur. But when you have to write it in the exam, you have to say the number of columns in the first matrix is equal to the number of rows in the second matrix. So matrix multiplication is conformable. It's one of the words they use. So, and the result will look like these two. The result will look like this two here. So you all understand that algebra is something else teaching matrices all the time over and over. So therefore, when I multiply this row by this column, I just get the first one. And I multiply this row by that column now. So I'll get 5 by -6 plus 2 by 3. You'll see a little pattern happening here. And then next side, I'll have to multiply this row by this column. So I get 4 by -2 plus -1 by 1. Then I will get 5 by -2 plus 2 by 1. Follow all the numbers and make sure you understand, and you work it out. I've seen some people paying answers and things already. So I'll get -24, -24 minus a next 3, so that's -27. I hope I'm doing this correct. -30 plus 6 is -24. -8 minus 1 is -9, and -10 plus 2 is 8. Will you get this? Why isn't it chatting for you get that same thing? -8, sorry, -8. All these numbers negative, we're really going on here. That's another bad sign. Fine, when you get bad signs after Let me get some good signs in that question. So yeah, so we're looking good, cooking it around gas. I mean, if I make a little mistake in the negative signs and in any one of these questions, I'm sorry about that, but the principle is correct. A little tired now, I've seen it in the eyes. And I do have to write the exam. I think I did. So, okay, so the next part, the part that really comes to maths is this part. This is the part that really comes to a lot of maths here. So, and it's basically a simultaneous equation solving simultaneously. So let's take it down and we'll go through the entire thing real fast. 4x minus y, 5x minus 2y is equal to 1, 4. Why that like 55? That's supposed to be 5x. I am very hungry. This life might end not because it's time to end, this life might end because I had to eat. So then we put this in the matrix standings. I hope all you know how to do this because this is usually a mark. 4, negative 1, 5, negative 2. That little movement there, know it. You understand what happening there? Coefficient matrix, variable column matrix, constant column matrix. And then you begin. You can begin with a little poem. This is the poem that you have to memorize and use every time. In the form ax equal b, therefore x is equal to the a inverse of b. We must find a inverse. And now you go ahead and find a inverse. So you have to find the inverse of that matrix. Every time, all the time, every time. So to find the inverse of a matrix, first you find the determinant. So the determinant of, let's call it A, you understand already established that, so I can call him A, is AD minus BC, where A is equal to ABCD. So this is like cracking up all kind of thing. 4 by negative 2, I like a sleep at, minus, and take some, what it is recommend for that way, minus by 5. This is really good. Negative 8 plus 5, again negative 3, negative 3. Remember, I switch one of the signs to make the thing. All right, so negative 3 is the determinant, and what's the adjoint? The adjoint of A is swap these two, switch the sign on these two. So you put a negative 2, 4 there, then you switch the sign. So you get 1, negative 5. Shucks, I should have lead with a little formula there, boy. Parallel BA minus B minus C. That's how the formula is look. So swap negative 4, 2. You can swap and change sign. Is either you're swapping or changing sign. Pick a structure. 1 and negative 5. Right? That's how the flow does go. And therefore, A inverse, remember we must find A inverse, which we're doing. A inverse is 1 over the determinant by the adjoint. That's the formula that we use to see during the exam, use this formula. So now we see in join 1 over negative 3 by negative 2, negative 5, 1, 4. We good to go there. Now, usually, if they ask you to find A inverse by itself and then not to solve anything, you just throw in the negative 3 on everybody and the denominator and you're good to go. But you had actually go ahead and multiply this by B. With 3,000 reach there, that is fantastic news. Take a screenshot and post and tag me. And follow me one time. But most of you all probably offer social media this hour. So anyhow, let's keep it. So x is equal to A inverse by B. So we know A inverse now is this 1 over negative 3. I don't want to put in a fraction there because that got hot up my head. So let me just keep it like this for now. And B was what? 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. And you multiply. Multiply, remember, this is 1 over negative 3 class. Negative 3. Negative 3. Everything going good so far? So negative 2 by 1. And multiplying again. Remember, row, column, one at a time. One at a time. So negative 2 by 1 is, I don't know, right? It's negative 2 plus 1 by 4 is 4. Then negative 5 by 1 is negative 5 plus 4 by 4 is 16. Understand? Making sense? And this is 1 over negative 3 over negative over 2 minus 5 plus 11. So 2 and 11. I know the answer. So you need to bring in the fraction now. Now is a good time to bring in the fraction. So again, negative 2/3 and negative 11 over 3. And that's xy. So therefore, x is equal to negative 2/3 and y is equal to negative 11 over And again, all kind of wild answers, boy. Let me just go back and check and make sure I make no mistake. And some kind of crazy answers. So what 3 steps again is one of the longest thing you could do. In the paper. So you have to find the inverse of this matrix for -1, 5, -2. Okay, I write my little poem. I went ahead and find the inverse. -8 plus 5, -3. Swap, switch sign. Multiply by the swap switch sign. Now by the 1, 4, -2, 4, -5, 16. Add up. Yeah, we're looking good. We're looking good. So that is Judy. All right, so what's the next topic? Quadratic and linear equations. Fine. Let's do some quadratic. Let's start off with linear equations. So linear equations, folks, pay attention. Linear equations are the simplest, most fundamental part of algebra, one of the key parts in algebra, right? So like if you see 2x plus 11 is equal to 17, you must be able to solve things like that. If you can't solve things like that, what is you doing? What is you doing whole year? So 17 minus 11 and 6, 2x, x is equal to 6 over 2 equal 3, right? Some people must be saying, yes, finally, something I know. Finally. All right, so, or if you saw something like, let's get it a little more complicated. If you saw something like 2 over x plus x plus 3 over x is equal to, just now I let come into that. I just make it as simple for. Let me make it 3 again. How would you solve this? How would you solve this? Solve for x. How would you solve this? Well, anytime you see these things next to each other, this is called an algebraic fraction. Algebraic fraction. And algebraic fractions are solved by using LCM. However, this, the denominators that we see. So this is really 2 plus 3, as simple as that. I can say x, and just put 2 plus 3. Because the denominators that we see is equal to 3. So 5 is equal to x is equal to 3. So do a little swappy swaps. We have 5 over 3 is equal to x. So let's look at the next algebraic fraction that is a little more complicated. What about if you saw this and they just say express as a single fraction, which is their favorite. Express as a single fraction. And you saw something like maybe 3x plus 1 over what are we looking like here? Over 6 minus x over 8. X plus x minus 1 over 8. And you express this as a single fraction. You had any quiver? You had any bow? You have that? You have that? You have that load up? You have that load up, people? Well, once again, LCM, and this time the denominator different. So if the denominator different, you have to go ahead and find the LCM of 6 and 8, which is not 48, it's actually 24. If you use 48, you'll end up with some multiples that you'll have to remove. So 6 could go into 24, how much times? 4 times, not so? 6 into 24, 4 times. So you take up that 4 and you wet them down on everybody there. Do you remember that? Remember that? Like the flow. That's a beautiful flow in maths. 3x plus 1. 8 could go into 24 3 times, so you take them up and you wet them down there. Now the key with these questions, and something like this is going to come in the exam for sure, where you're going to have a negative here and you had to distribute. And you had to remember a negative and a negative is a positive. So let me take the time and figure out what's going on happening in that numerator. By 4 by 3x is 12x, and 4 by 1 is 4. Negative 3 by x is negative 3x, and careful, negative 3 by negative 1 is positive 3. Why is in the chat if you understand? And now you simplify the top, up top. So 12x minus 3x is 9x, and 4 plus 3 is 7. And then you put it over 24. So that's a linear equations, linear factorizing linear expressions, and these kind of things. And then we go into quadratics. So quadratics, what's the general form of a quadratic equation? The general form of a quadratic, how long we live? 1 hour and 25 minutes. General form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c. Ax squared plus bx plus c. Where if I have a situation like 2x squared, oh folks, I didn't make this one up. Minus 15x plus 7. What is A? A is equal to 2, B is equal to negative 15, and C is equal to 7. A is equal to 2, B is equal to negative 15, and C is equal to 7. And to factorize, we have to use something called the AC method. You all know the AC method? We use the AC method. So I'm going to write the question, the part that you all should be able to do in blue, and the part that you're supposed to think in your mind, I'll keep writing that in black. So in my mind, I'm thinking, and what am I thinking about? Thinking about food because I'm hungry. 2 by 7, I'm thinking about that, A by C. So A by C is 2 by 7 is 14. And there are 2 boxes that I'm trying to fill in my mind, folks. 2 boxes that I'm trying to fill in my mind. So I'm trying to get 2 numbers that multiply to give me A by C, which is 2 by 7 is 14. I'm trying to get 2 numbers to give me A by C, right? And the 2 numbers must at the same time add to give me back B. B is negative 15. That's the AC method. That's how you factorize a quadratic. Now, everybody should know this at this stage in the game. You must know this at this stage in the game. But if you don't, then it must be, maybe you could still pass maths, maybe. Slim. Chances slim, bro. Go and look at quadratic equation on my channel. I have it nicely explained how to go through it, right? So you'll get 2x squared minus, you all are correct in the chat, minus 14x minus 1. That's the 2 numbers, minus 1, minus 14. Now, those things happening in my mind, I'm not really putting on the paper. But if you want to, you could, but at this stage, you're supposed to ask people to think it up now. So, and you put 2x into x minus what? 40. Hey, wait. Okay. Oh, yeah, looking up. 2x into x minus 7, yeah, x minus 7. 2x by x is 2x squared, 2x by that is that. Want to see that x minus 7, remember, this part is done by grouping because you are seeing those 4 terms, that clue there, 4 terms. So you do those by grouping. You imagine an invisible line here and you factorize 2x for the x minus 7. And then you take back that x minus 7 and you throw him down there like, rah, one time. Just take him back. And then you find the missing thing that will make everything right in the world. The missing piece. So 2x minus 1, x minus 7. And now you factorize the quadratic. So you must know how to factorize a quadratic. If it's blurry, follow Christy's advice. Go on the settings, quality, advance it up, 1080p. Just not to start to pay Christy for the amount of time she had to write this. Now, they never say to solve it, eh? See me say solve this anyway. But if they said to solve it and it was equal to 0, well then you see either one of these had to be equal to 0. Either the 2x minus 1 equals 0. So 2x is equal to 1 and x would be equal to a half. Understand that a little piece of linear equation is coming out. There's a little nice little cooler is do at the ending of the question. So x minus 7 one had to be equal to 0 or x is equal to 7. So one of these will occur. One of these will occur. Somebody says circle theorem again and where them understood. we do circle theorem already now. I'm going to do one more before I do a completing the square for commanding. Let me make up a next circle theorem question. Quick. We have a center, bang. I want to paint a little off like this, bang. So, then I want to make them along ones like this, or one like this. Two shorts. And where are we going with this way? I really know what I'm doing here, right? I should have put that in a different color, you know, because everything will come in a different color. It's starting to be hard to differentiate. I do make them a long one like this, next long. And right, maybe I can do this, and what else we could add to this to make it interesting, right? So I want to make this angle over here, so something. But I want to be careful with it. I don't want to mess me up here. I have to make this angle something. I have to make this angle here like the angle I want them to get here. Give them this angle, they will see it. So I want them to make this angle looking like a 75 to me, 75 degrees. Then I want them to tell you that this angle over here, wait, I think that's all they need to know, you know. That's all you need to know. That is all you need to know. So that's the center of the circle. And after that, so that is 75. That's all you need to know. I want to know the value of, I need to label up some things here now. Last time I used PQR and things, so we start with A now. A, B, and the color O, A, B, C, D. No, last time I used A, B, C, D too, because I remember saying E and F for the tangent. So EF is a tangent that hits at B, OB is a radius, OA is a radius, and I all they need to know. And angle ADE is 75. So with that piece of information, find angle AOD, 1, proceed. Find angle ABC, proceed. Not yet. Find angle, that gotta be number 3. Find angle ABC, and then before that, find angle CDF. Why is in the chat if you feel you could find everything there, boy? What's the size of angle AOD, CDF, and then ABC? If this spelled out in your paper, where you feel it in them there. Once again, EF is a tangent that hits the circle at point D. OA and OD are radius of the circle. So what's the size? Somebody asking for consumer arithmetic. Yeah, to be more specific, than I have 400 topics in consumer arithmetic. Okay, not 400, but I have a lot of topics in consumer arithmetic. What in consumer arithmetic? What's the next thing I'll say I'll do after this? completing the square. So what's the size of angle AOD, CDF, and then ABC? So AOD is this angle over here. So I'm already seeing that this has to be a isosceles triangle. So let me separate that. I'm going to put these to the side here. I'll go to the side here, bro. You come to all just now. All your mental pass circle to line with all the two. I can do that for there. Cool. Because you got circle to line with all the now. So let me do it in. Let me do it. Wait, are they too close still? Too close to kind of crap in my style. Go across. So nice. Nice. Ready now. So we have to find the size of angle AOD. So how we figure out AOD? Well, I can already negotiate that this is different. I don't know the word. I can already use my expert decoding skills and cook with my Ramco gas and determine that this is a isosceles triangle. AOD is isosceles, and that will come in handy. Isosceles, since AO is equal to OD, which are radii. Both of them are radii of the circle, so they must be the same length. And that's useful because the base angles in isosceles triangle are equal. Base angles in isosceles triangles are equal. So we're going to use that fact and this fact and one more. Angle between a tangent and a radii is what? A tangent and a radius, is 90 degrees. That means, therefore, ODE is 90 degrees. And we have all the reasons that we need there. We can start to put on our work. You understand? This is 90 degrees. Therefore, ADO is equal to 90 minus 75, which is 15 degrees. And since all the base angles is equal, so it means AOD is equal to 180 degrees, or I left out one reasoning, minus 2 times 15, which is, where's the one thing I leave out? 150 degrees. I like to cover my tracks and I like to say everything I need to say. Remember, angles in a triangle add up to 180. Add up to 180. So I figured out our first one. So we know now what we know. Let me go across here and pattern this. We know now that this was 15 all along. This is actually 150, and there's the next 15 here. So now we try to figure out CDF, folks. Where's CDF? CDF is over here, folks. A little slip of a quiver there. How in the world we figuring out that? I don't know if I can figure out that now. Because I can move C. I can move C without interfering with the rest of them. Yeah, C is unhinged. So I need a little extra to figure out that way. Feeling you can't feel it, and you can't do it. Feeling you can't. No, you can't use alternate segment theorem here because you cannot triangle in the other side and the thing. Alternate segment theorem only work like if you have a triangle here. So I remember I'm making up these questions out of the top of my head and I'm proofing it before I started. So I actually made an error here in that. I should have given you one more piece of information. So let me give you one more piece of information. Because C is unhinged. C could go anywhere and according to this question. So I need to tie C to that spot. Let us tie C to a spot. So I still want you to figure out CDF, but I want to give you that this is 100 degrees. So to go ahead and tell you that the angle ABC is 100 degrees. So, how are we doing now? All right, folks. So you have everything you need to know there now. So some of you all are saying straight line and finding no. We didn't know what this angle was. We didn't know. And there's no way of us finding out without me telling you this. Now you can clearly figure out stuff. So I didn't figure out B, and I am telling you that pretend this was any question all along that B is 100 degrees. So can you figure out what CDF is now? I still want to figure out what CDF is. So ABC is 100 degrees. So figure it out. I'm just waiting for a couple of you to figure it out. Well, here's a tip. Tip. Focus back. So some of you all could have been a little lost. Focus back. Bring it back home. Exam is tomorrow now. Stay focused. So when you open the paper tomorrow, the first thing, now I see some teachers on Instagram and getting advice and say, don't use up all your brain power on the easy questions. When you're doing the paper, go to the last question and look backwards and think. I feel like that can mess up the vibe. So if you practice it that way, fine, but I would advise that. I would advise collecting the easy marks, yes. Especially, if you're strong in maths, do whatever you want. You're going to finish the exam fast on time. If you know you're doing your thing and you're just trying to make it past the finish line here, start from question 1. But the only thing is, when you open the paper, go and look at question 9 and see if you see the circle terms. 100% chance you can see it. And see if you can figure out certain things in the circle term. See if you can figure out certain things in the circle term before you start the paper and write it down. You understand? And immediately I'm seeing that, the circle have a, what is called this thing? A cyclic quadrilateral, bro. There's a whole cyclic quadrilateral, you mean? Yeah, and we know about cyclic quadrilaterals. The opposite sides are opposite angles, I should say, in a cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary, and that means that up to 180 degrees. So this angle here, so ABC plus ABC must be equal to 180 degrees. Well, ABC is 100. So ADC is 180 degrees minus 100, which is 80 degrees. So this whole thing is 80 degrees. Therefore, OCD, ODC, which is this, so let's follow in with me. ODC must be 80 degrees minus the 15 to get this little piece here. We coming real close to the answer now, folks. Wait. We don't need to find out this. Because if we know ADC is 80, we need to find out that little piece there. Remember, this is why I want to already know this piece and that piece. Therefore, CBF must be equal to 180 minus 80 degrees minus 7 plus 75 degrees. Agreed? Do we agree, folks? And you get a nice 25 degrees. Watching it. Because that add up the 80 and the 75 and that could be near me. Finally, let's see if we can figure out last question in the simple term. Let's see if we can. Are there any other rules I could give you to apply here, boy? Nearly no other rule or a fancy rule I could give you here. They call that George for that simple term. Let's go on to completing this square. So when you complete this square, I would advise you to, one or two people keep asking, I get 100. I say the question is 100. CX, you open the paper and you see 100 there. It's not like I work it out. That was part of the question. I just left it out in the beginning. 2x squared plus, now we say 7x This is going to be yucky. Plus minus b squared or AC minus 2. And say to express this, so express 2x squared plus 7x minus 3 in the form a into x plus h to b squared plus k. So q, your knowledge on completing the square one time. Now there are 3 ways that I show my students in the crash course, 12-hour crash course, how to complete the square. I showed you all the, what I call the natural method of making a perfect square method. I showed you all a formula method, and I show you all comparing coefficient method. What I'm going to show you all, what I'm going to use right now is just the simplest method, the formula method, right? But if you want to use the better methods, go ahead. So formula method, h is equal to b on 2a and k is equal to 4ac minus b squared on 4a. Yeah. So you substitute where a is 2, b is 7, and c is negative 3. So substituting, you get 7 over 2 by 2, and k is equal to 4 by 2 by negative 3 minus 7 squared over 4 by 2. Not a pretty sight. Not a pretty sight. Sorrow prayers. 8 by negative 3 is negative 24 minus 49 over 8. Is that correct? That's what you're getting for k. And what's this? Negative 73 over 8. So this look like something that CSEC could bring. 7 over 4. This look like the usual kind of numbers. Here's walk out of there with. That means the usual numbers, boy. So this is the easiest method for completing the square, where you use a formula. You use a formula and you move on with your life. So 4ac minus b squared over 4a. So we have a into x plus h to b squared plus k must be, oh yeah, you're right there, for the equation is equal to that, and it's expressed in the form ah. A was 2 and 2x plus 7 over 4 to b squared minus 73 over 8. Or the other way you could write this is, therefore this equation is equal to this, which is in the form a into x plus h to b squared plus k equals 0. So after you complete this square, right? After completing this square, and this comes like maybe 40% of the times, after completing this square, the topic comes like 40-50% of the times. After completing this square, there are 3 topics that they ask you, 3 things, and I'll use our diagram to explain the 3 things. 3 things that they're concerned about. So let's suppose your square look like this. They're concerned about that guy. What is that called? That's one thing they're concerned about. They're concerned about these 2 guys. That's another thing they're concerned about. But most of all, after completing this square, they're really concerned about that fella there. So the first one is called the y-intercept. The second one is the roots, and this one is the turning point. So sometimes it might be like this or like this. If it's like this, you call it a maximum. Like this, you call it a minimum point. So I'll do some vectors next, because that is going over and over in my chat. So after completing this square, boy, you can be asked about the y-intercept, which is the easiest thing you could ever be asked about, because this is c from the original equation. So in this case, in our case here, the y-intercept is negative 3. So our equation probably doing something like this. And negative 3 over there. Maybe our equation doing that. And the roots, if they ask you to find the roots, you have to go ahead and solve, which could sometimes be real miserable of a question to do. So let's go ahead and solve the roots. 2x plus 7 over 4 is usually come for like 3 marks or so. So they don't really like that. If they find the roots, they find nice base maths these days. All right. So if you need to solve roots, if by chance it shows up, pay attention, people. Exam is tomorrow. X plus 7 over 4, need I remind you, is 73 over 8. You bring it across. This is the step. Do one expand out this, so you're going to ravel away there. Then you divide by the 2. So if I divide this by 2, the 2 will come on in, and then you can have fun with the 8, and it will be 16. 2 by 8 is 16. And then you find the square root of both sides. So you find the square root of 73 over 16. But you use plus or minus because it's quadratics. And x is equal to 7 over 4 plus or minus the square root of 73 over 16. Now, in this case, you get decimal numbers because 73 over 16. I will give you some decimal numbers. So that, but I'll give you the roots there, folks. I'll get the roots there. So one of the roots is this way you do. X1 is 7 over 4 plus the root of 73 over 16. So you get one answer there. Put that in and tell me what you get. Or x2, the next one will be 7 over 4 minus this. I want to do some easy topics afterwards. I don't need asking me to do a bunch of hard topics and frightening the children who in study. People who in study could still pass on. Well, who in study enough? Some people they know some of these topics now, and I'm just scaring them. Right now they're frightened right now. So they're going to do some. What's that easy topic we could do? 7 over 4 plus and a tired 2 and a hungry. But they have enough thing on the channel here. You know. I find it enough thing on the channel here. Hundreds of videos that they could learn from. But they like live video. Thing. Bang. And you press SD 3.88. And they get 3.88. Yeah, we can do a little sequence question to help them up now, boy. I will do a sequence question next week. And everybody should collect full marks in the sequence question. If you're watching this, trust me, the sequence question is marks, boy. Money. Negative 0.386. So I'll pause this here. The next thing they can ask you about, and it's the most popular, is the y-intercept. And they can ask you like about 3 key questions on the y-intercept. So I want you to go and look up the complete in the square video I have, write it down after this live, go look it up and make sure you can talk about this. They could ask you about the axis of symmetry, they ask you about the minimum point, the value of f of x at the minimum, the value of x at the minimum. Those are the things, or the coordinates of the minimum point or maximum, depending on what it is. So focus everyone, we're going to do one of the easy questions here now. That's not how I come up with my beautiful design, folks. Give me a little time to come up with my design now, man. So, right, boom. I'm a design. I figure 1. So we're going to have to figure 2, boy. The figure 2. Figure 2. Nah, I don't like that. That is figure 2. They figure 2 here. It's feeling a little better. And figure 3. So they ask you to draw figure 4 now. Why is in the chat if you can at least do that? Like 4 marks, like 2 marks in. So you can do that. Like figure 1, that's figure 2, figure 3. So now figure 4, you supposed to the key part is to realize what is being added on. This kind of thing being added on every time to the new figure. So you draw back the old figure. Exactly like how they have it here, like what I done here. Sorry, my bad. You draw back the old figure, right? Boom, 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 boom. This is not the part where the marks are. Just again, the whole experience here. Again, the whole experience of tomorrow one time. Again, the part where the marks just now. And now you're adding a new part. That's a new part to add in. So that's how figure 4 would look like. Why it's in the chat if you understand. So okay, let's examine what could happen here. So tomorrow, please God, you can see they say figure number here for 1, and then they put dots or something, then they put sticks. And in 1 we had 3 dots, 3 sticks. Figure 2, 5 dots, 7 sticks. Figure 4, I figure 3, 7 dots, and 11 sticks. And they're going on. Are you gonna catch it? And then they ask you about your figure 4 now. Now we're going to get the full experience here, so brace yourself. Just imagine them lines is straightest lines. Now I'm not showing you the figure anymore because you really don't need to know the figure to solve these questions. You really don't need to see the figure to solve these questions. And they get some dashes there, and they will do some dots there, dot, 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 dot. How many of you are ready for this question when it comes? And they will tell you maybe you might get a little 11, which is some dashes there. Then just now, I don't call this. Are we not near way? Okay, that's what we not be. So they might tell you maybe 119. Yeah, and just some dashes there. Yeah, like the full experience there. Again, at the looks experience. So you're seeing some columns here, right? With some rows, some distinct rows. So I draw some lines to separate the rows because you have. So let's call that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Boom, they give you the whole alphabet. They tell you all that. But they wouldn't tell all of that, right? I just trying to cover all the different things again. But of course, the first row, they know me by now. The first row to solve is the last row. That nth row is the key to set the people free. The key to set the people free. So this G and that H, we want to get rid of that one time. To figure out that, folks, ladies and gentlemen, you have to look and see how much these numbers going up by. Now, there's another way it could come as well. Let's go and check my series and sequence this video. But this is by far the most popular way, like a high percentage, 80 to 90%. This is how it comes. So it's going up by how much here? It's going up by 2 here. Y'all can agree? So you write 2n here. 2n. And then you check to see if you need to do any adding or subtracting. 2 by 1 is 2. 2 by 2 is 4. So you see that 2 by 3 is 6. Do I need to do any adding and subtraction? 2 by 4 is 8. For all of these, I need to add on 1 to make it work. That's how you do these things. Do the next one. You check how much it's going up by. So it's a pattern recognition. Give me plain here. 4, 4, it's going up by 4. So it's going to be 2 and 4n this time because it's going up by 4 because we could count. so 4n, and you're going to add on or subtract because 4 by 1 is 4, 4 by 2 is 8, 4 by 3 is 12. I need to subtract row, I need to subtract 1. So after you finish with this row, you're ready to unleash on the other rows because this will just simply be put the 4 in the end. Put the 4 in the end now. Come on now, man. 4 by n. 4, so 2 by 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. Easy things. Now don't think you're going to buy 2 here, so you get 4 by 2 and guess here. That the most common mistake in this question, and you got lost marks. We think these dots here for that just mean rows pass, bro. Rows pass. You see that? Rows pass. So anyhow, this one will be 4 by 4 minus 1, which will be 15. So what is C? What is D? Well, 11 by 4, some number, 44 plus 1 is 45. Are they catching these things? 11 by 2, by 2. Whoops, wrongness. 11 by 2 is 22 plus 1 is 23. And then 11 by 4 is 44 minus 1 is 43. So far, so good. Now we just have these last two to figure out, which is more troublesome of them, but it's still easy. To do it, you equate whatever number they get. If they get a number here, equate it to this. If they get this number here, equate it to that and find for n. So 4n minus 1 must be equal to 119. So 4n is equal to 119 plus 1, which is 120. 4n is equal to that, so n is equal to 120 divided by 4. 3, 0. That's 30, as my friends in Guyana I say. I like how people in Grenada and Guyana mispronounce my name by Caroline. Trinidad, I realized Trinidad short-changing me and my name all my life, and I'm not pronouncing my name correct in Trinidad. When I go in them other countries, I get a real thing. First time I hear my name correctly. First time I hear that the quality of that R come out. Anyhow, so 30 by 2 is 60 plus 1 is 61. All right, so people saying faster, faster because of their heart starting to beat because exam coming up. Now, I am certain if I do this live, it might reach 3,500 and a lot of y'all will stay and think, but I am thinking, and I did the same thing last year, I close the live now because at this stage, 8:30, it's not that saying stop revising, it's that saying maybe not everybody should be revising the same thing that I revise in here. You all have different, some people saying faster, some people saying slower, some people saying slow down. So you all need to go and find what all you want on the channel. You need to go and all them measurements, search Kerwin Springer measurement. You want vectors, search Kerwin Springer vectors. You want this, search Kerwin Springer that. You want transformation, Kerwin Springer transformation. You're getting everything you want. Everything. So with that, I'm tapping out. I'm going to do a full 12-hour, for those who want to know, I'm going to do a 12-hour crash course for physics. Just stay tuned. I will for physics. Please, if you're interested in this and you're not on social media, WhatsApp this number now. 868-472-4221. Hey, I'll leave out that today. WhatsApp that number there and tell them to you're in the for the 12-hour crash course of physics, and I also do a 12-hour for maths. This is the more crucial one because this one is closer. I'm doing this Saturday, as in Saturday coming here, maths students, this Saturday from 12 p.m. to 12 midnight. I do one for maths. I do one for maths this Saturday, last Saturday, and it was real nice. That's the best. That's probably the best. That's probably one of the best crash courses I ever do. It was real nice, especially down to the end. We actually stay extra hour. I don't know if I can stay extra hour at maths, but I can promise from 12 to 12 at maths. And I'll do the one for physics 2 weeks later. That's on the weekend before the physics exam. In the student hub, we also have a chemistry 12-hour coming up. So I'm organizing that too. That'll be on the Sunday after the physics. All of these is only 300 TTD. Some of you spending on food in a week or on a party. 300 TTD to improve your marks and improve your grade and increase your employability. That's nothing. That's a really good price for 12 hours of me pouring out my heart and soul in them crash course. Those of you who are already in these subjects in the student hub, if you're already in physics, you get the physics crash course free. If you're already in mathematics, you get free. If you're already in chemistry, you get free. So I want to tell you all to go ahead. If you're watching this in the future, the student hub is the number one place for online classes in the Caribbean. You can go to the bank with that, the number one place for online classes in the Caribbean, so you can sign up for any class you want, any CSEC class. We have dozens of subjects for CSEC and keep for different forms. So if you're watching this in the future, Student Hub will sponsor this live, bro. So the Student Hub is my online school. and I use my networking to get the best teachers. So I don't want to keep you all any longer. If you want a specific topic, we cooking in Rampo gas go steep on. If you have a specific topic, search my name and the topic. There are also really nice channels that you can get help from. I see someone you're posting some things on TikTok. And they're trying to make the dealings difficult. I see someone you're posting some things on TikTok about me and other teachers and who's the goat and thing. I not on that. I not on that. Love and blessings. But I might be the goat. joking. Love and blessings. Later people enjoy your study and blessings in exam. I leave a little blessings and all in YouTube. I leave one on TikTok and leave one on Instagram. Blessings.